Part 10. How did convoys work? The Admiralty in London became the nerve centre of a worldwide system to get merchant ships safely through the danger zones. The process began far back in the countries where the cargo started. The local representatives of the British government instructed ships to sail to one of the gateways, assembly points such as Gibraltar. Here they were organised into one of the constantly forming convoys. They used two main routes across the Atlantic, a northern route which sailed north of Ireland into Liverpool, and a southern route to the English Channel for ships bound for other English and French ports. These routes were known as trunk lines. Branch lines led to ports such as Plymouth or Brest. Convoy speed was that of the slowest ship. The convoy was commanded by a naval officer who made it practice the manoeuvres which would be necessary if a submarine was sighted. The convoy commander left his home port with sealed orders, which he was instructed not to open until he was 100 miles at sea. These orders, when the seal was broken, gave him the rendezvous assigned by the convoy board in London. For example, he might be instructed to cross the 30th meridian at the 52nd parallel of latitude, where he would be met by his anti-submarine escort. He set course for that point and regulated his speed so as to reach it at the appointed time. When it first set out, a convoy looked as desirable a target as a submarine might wish, but by the time it approached the danger zone, its crews had been trained for 20 to 30 days in all the evolutions which were necessary for coping with submarine attacks. These included zigzagging in formation and sailing at night without lights. The crews were put through all the drills which prepared them to meet such crises as being torpedoed in the engine room or the sinking of the ship, and they were thoroughly schooled in getting all hands safely into the boats. Convoy formation was usually wider than it was deep, for example 6 files of 4 ships each. In the danger zone, the escort sailed at the sides and at the rear, and the whole convoy zigzagged. Using convoys, the average loss fell to about 450,000 tons a month. The losses were principally from slow convoys with an average speed of 4 to 7 knots. The slow convoys were large, between 40 to 50 ships, and included neutrals. The victims were mainly stragglers and ships which fell behind. Fast convoys were formed of about 12 ocean liners. Troops always sailed in fast convoys. Ships outward bound from Great Britain assembled in a similar way, but the waters outside their harbour had to be swept for mines and patrolled for a radius of about 12 miles to make sure no submarines were waiting for them. They were then escorted through the danger zone. The Germans' targets was the ships, even if they were empty. On the other side, its destroyer escort picked up an inbound convoy, while the outward bound convoy continued with an ocean-going escort. Convoys had further advantages. It was easy to order them to avoid the known position of any U-boats, and they reduced the need for merchant ships to send wireless messages. The merchant ships' codes had been frequently broken. Convoys continued until the end of the war.